Right, let me know if anyone's in here. I just wanted to kind of jump on for a bit because Lenny's just meeting a friend for a meal. Just put Elodie to bed. And I've been sitting here watching some Anton Aparian vids and just wondering after today's videos, like I noticed that I'm doing quite a lot in my faster playing, like elbow picking. I don't know if any of you guys find that you do that when you try to play fast as well. But I kind of wanted to jump on and just mull this over with some of you guys if you're up for it. Alright, Deep Jim, I was going to message you, but I messaged Chris instead. Hey Patrick, hey Grits, there's a video coming up at maybe 1:15. Should I schedule that to be slightly later? Maybe, I don't know. Let me just change that a sec. Anyway, I hope you guys are all having a good week so far. It is of course only Monday, so there's certainly time for it to deteriorate, but hopefully not. Right, give me a second. Yeah, so just talking about some technique stuff, and it's just something I've been mulling over. I recognise, of course, that playing fast is not the only thing. I wish I could do a video comparing your Japanese Tokai with a Gibson R9. I don't know if I know anyone with an R9. Patrick says still no World War III, so everything's okay, I guess. Yeah, at the minute. Chris has still got long COVID, that's a shame. Johnny Blamont, hi. Is that French? Do you still have the Peerless Gig Master Jazz? I picked one up last year. No, I sold that a long time ago. I moved from that house to this one, and yeah, that one went. Really nice guitars though, Crits. Hey Jim, how's things in South Africa? Right. Yeah, so as I said, I've been watching some Anton Apparent stuff. I'm wondering, maybe my technique sucks. Never-ending adjustment, sadly, but it's really nice when it holds its tune. That's annoying. The strats that I do have, Patrick, though, they're not gonna be here for long. They're just bought for an experiment, really, to see like what the current state of Fender stuff was. I've actually got a Fender custom shop in the house at the minute as well. Always amazed by your ability to make really nice backing track. That's kind of you to say. Still waiting to hear you break down some sections of Gem by Eric Johnson. I'll check that out. Is that from which album is that from? In fact, should I go grab the custom shop? Hey Anton. Wait, that's not the Anton, is it? I'm just talking about Anton Apparent and Anton shop. What's up? Up Close album. Which one's that? Is that a later one? Hey Lee. This should be louder now. Does anyone want me to go and get the custom shop? So what I'm thinking is that I need to try and focus on, from this apparent stuff, a more relaxed wrist and avoiding, I'll just bring this down a bit, avoiding too much of this or too much of that, and maybe trying to cut out, or at least cut back on a little bit of the elbow movement, which is something I do when it's kind of getting fast, and means that I have like multiple joint movements in my pick technique. Just play the damn guitar, bro says hi. Is this a rare live stream? It is. Might be a little bit too much of the crotch. Sorry guys. How do you go about playing long lines? Generally I'll legato them. Sorry, the floor's messy, the kid has been... What gig are you going to, Jim? Where are the sausages? Could not hear looper answers, sorry. So I'm using a Helix looper right now. I really like the Moore GL100. Lower backing track, I can just stop it. It's not a backing track, it's a loop. Hey John, yeah, I've been checking out some Anton Apparent, by the way, John. Thought it was kind of interesting. If an ad comes up, set the playback speed to 2 times to get back to live without missing anything. The app should get back to normal speed when you are caught up. It's good shout. Why didn't you mention in your videos that the Fender American Pro 2 has a push-push pickup switch in the tone knob? I did. I just think it doesn't actually add anything particularly useful for me personally. I definitely mentioned it in the first one. I didn't mention it in the comparison. I'm live streaming, bro.
That's tomorrow.
It's also now.
Right, well, that's not okay, because now you've really ruined the routine.
She's in bed. It's alright. She's good. Right.
She went to sleep at 7:30, did she?
Yeah. Speak to you in a bit.
I'm on my way home. Do you need me to get anything?
Yeah, surprises.
Oh, really? You want me to stop at a garage and get you a surprise?
Yeah. That's what this
Like
chat's asking for that as well.
Chocolate.
Throw it away! Bye! Right, where are the sausages? The sausages are down here. Fenton got kicked in the face by a dog the other day. So yeah. That's been not very good. I didn't. Can you see Nemo just there behind me? There's a sausage. Why did I just have a bus pass advert? I'm nowhere near quality. I don't know, Anton. Are you the French Anton who has a nacho for sale? Hey Roland. He stuck his head up for a bit, Nemo did, but not there right now. Yes, he was talking about Guthrie's technique. Yeah, there was a really fast dog. It was a fast dog, and he's got a very loose tooth. We're thinking he might lose the tooth. What is your fret size? I think generally most of my guitars have 6 105s on them, Michael. That's... what you mean by that. This has got stainless frets on it though. This is a Warmoth neck, and it's got like a pretty pronounced V. Woman size 6 on shoes. Yeah, South West England. Anton. Right. Well, that's fine then. Hey Matthew. Right. Matt. I mean, is the Danocaster jumbo frets? No. I think. Is it? What's the one that's one below 6105? I saw Tommy Emmanuel next to last year. Awesome. Fret level midnight. Does anyone else worry that their technique just sucks? And then you see someone talking about Guthrie Govans as not ideal. Kind of makes you think a bit, doesn't it, about your own reflection. Anyway, so yeah, that's where I'm at today. Christopher, Warmoth 6105s are much shorter than real, by the way, find that out. Alright, that's a fact. Sneak peek, by the way, tomorrow I've got a video coming with a Tone Master Deluxe Reverb. So Hollywood Actress asks, so you recommend, I reckon Hollywood Actress might be Jim. I was wondering whether you could go over how you approach building melodic solos. The fast stuff seems the easy part. I don't know if any of it's easy, but to me, the melodic stuff is just, that's so hard to actually define what's going on. Guitarist alternate picking and hand synchronization generally sucks compared to how good everyone is. Legato, hybrid, happy gamboys, etc. Yeah. Have you dug into the Anton Apparent stuff much? I'm wondering whether it might be worth it, but... Or do you just, go down the route of, well, I'm not a massive alternate picker anyway. And I think for me as well, the one thing that I did sort of note about it is that it's really when you start getting above sort of 160 where it seems that the technique starts to fall apart. So September Fire, I think this technique that I'm playing with here, I think Anton Apparent would define as sort of like mid-tempo, so not super shreddy. Whereas some of the things where your technique starts to fall apart or where stamina issues and stuff like that show up is when you start going into tempos above that, like 180 and above, like that. Do you know what I mean? So it's, interesting. Wonder what the Sir Andy Timmons amp collaboration will be. Any ideas? I think you asked this last time. I think it's going to be like a Sir Plexi style because he's still very much wedded to the Lone Star stuff. But you often see him with like a Plexi style amp as well, right? So I think it would be like that sort of thing. Unless he's just going to get something which can actually replace his Lone Stars at this point. Because that would also make sense given that Lone Stars have been out of production for, 10 years now? The Troy Grady Cracking the Code free YouTube series about Yngwie's alternate picking was a revelation. Can't really alt pick everything. I think Anton Apparent would definitely disagree with that. I think it's more that Yngwie and quite a lot of other players seem to be working around the limitations of alternate picking that isn't set up totally perfectly or something like that. What was your thoughts on an external multi-effects like Nuix or Helix or use a software plugin for home quiet practice? I was going to make a video on this the other day, but it kept crashing. I think if it's just home practice, there's nothing wrong at all with like Archetype Pliny or something like that. For me, personally, I think I use Helix Native a lot. If you're doing streams like this, that sort of stuff doesn't really work. Nicholas said, Quad Cortex or Fender Tone Master Pro, what is opinion today? Quickly, he's clearly in a rush. I would say Quad Cortex of those two. Smaller, does more things. Yeah. That makes sense. Anton can alternate pick everything, 5-string skips, etc. Yeah, he improvs at the start of his videos are bonkers. Yeah, so Anton seems to be one of those players a little bit like Marshall Harrison, where you get these kind of savants that are like really know what they're doing in terms of technique. I'm trying to keep up with all the Fender videos, so you still think Fender Player 2 is the best value out of the range, or Vintera win? For me personally, Devin, Vintera 2, I think, would be the longer term guitar that I'd play with more, just because the neck really works for me. Yeah, if that makes sense. And then, what was the other question? Yeah, and if it, I think I'm going to conclude this in a later video. The Fender Road Worn might be, I think, the best value. If you find a used Fender Road Worn 60s, of all of the Fenders that I've tried in the last sort of month, I'd say that one sticks out to me as being maybe best bang for buck. Player 2, for me personally, the neck is a bit skinny, if that makes sense. Do you feel you can play faster with single coils as opposed to humbuckers? I'm not sure that makes particularly a difference. I think pick would make more of a difference than single coils or humbuckers. Cyril says, how many Fenders to review before you run out of room? I think I've found my limit already. That's a kind of cool point there, actually, Hollywood actress. I think, yeah, single coils for me, I came to a little bit later, like in my 20s. I don't understand why Timmons doesn't play Keeley Supro amps. I don't know if he still has like a deal with Mesa Boogie or something. It seems strange that he's using Mesa Boogie all this time when they're discontinued. How do your neighbours find the noise? Do you jack in, or have you got some soundproofing? I had a complaint from the lady next door soundproofing a room in the basement. Tom Katzer, was there a Toyota Camry involved? I live in a detached house, so it's generally all right, and I don't play too loud anyway because I've got a baby, or 2-year-old at this point. She used to be a real piece of shit. Thoughts on Two Rock amps? They're great. They're expensive. For that kind of vibe, Fender Deluxe Reverb for me kind of does most of what I really like out of a Two Rock, and doesn't cost the same. So one of the things that I need to be aware of is, like, when I do a burst, you start to sort of, for me personally, tense up. And one of the things that Anton was saying is about keeping these two, both parts here, a bit soft, like more relaxed. Helix Native just went on sale for 50% off. Good idea. Hi John, do you take a hit on reselling gear for making videos, or do you try to borrow stuff? I do a mixture of both, and also working with companies, which definitely helps too. Alnico 5 in my latest purchase was Screaming Demon Duncan in lower mid gain. No, I'm just trying to display like that. I'm trying to not have so much tension whilst I do attempts at fast stuff. Mr. Martin. Hey, which Anton are we talking about? Anton Oparin, the Russian guy. There's a video which he did, like, asking, is there a universal technique? Which I thought was kind of interesting. It's kind of an interesting way to go about it. It seems like he's come up against, I guess, a little bit of ridicule from the way that his video seems set out. And it seems a little bit combative in some regards. Lead around. I think Lee Durant has just outed himself, maybe. I do have a mirror to the left of me in my videos. I don't know if you'll notice if you ever look back left, that is a mirrored set of wardrobes there. I definitely used to play in front of a mirror. These days it's not so much. So when I try and improvise with alternate picking as well, why is Lenny saying pin ho? What I find is that alternate picking, I'm much more likely to just go for shorter lines. And I think that's maybe because I'm just not as comfortable playing alternate picking. Bareface cabinets, I've got one coming on the channel soon, September Fire. They are building me one at the moment. I don't think about note names, Gabriel. I do think about what key I'm in. I'm using my ears at all times to sort of try and sing it a little bit. Yeah, so Harry's been working on this. David Grantham says, I really believe that at some point we will see you on tour with a famous band or singer, which I doubt because I quite like being at home with my family. I think touring really doesn't particularly suit having a family a lot. Under what circumstances would you consider this? A house fire? I don't know. But seriously, I don't think touring would suit me at all. I quite like being at home. Is there a better choice than a used Eventide H9 in the under $400 range? I would say no, Mojo Jeff. Maybe a Helix HX effects if you find one, but not so much. Go back to basics to learn alternate picking. Revisit Paul Gilbert Intense Rock 1 and 2 videos. Yeah, maybe. And Paul Gilbert was one of the players that Anton has quite a high opinion of. Hey John, I play full songs with some buddies and was looking at multi-effects boards. You mentioned you like HX Stomp over Podgo. Can you elaborate? Both are in my price range. So HX Stomp, you have parallel effects routing, so you can have two paths. So for that reason, you can do things in parallel that are kind of useful. So I would say that. Vasco Prochkov, Russian, I'm going to assume. Want to say hi, love the channel. Cheers for stopping by. I'm just talking about Anton Parran. So, some of this stuff. Patrick says, practice accuracy of fast stuff closer to the bridge. Since strings move less there. Absolutely true. Kiko left Megadeth to be home and with family, I think. Yeah. Please pause the backing track. Okay, I will once I've done some playing. Hey Derek. Hey. You're getting a lot of ads. I don't know why that would be, Vincent. Scott says I think I should have a guitar teaching course. I kind of do lessons on YouTube. But that's kind of the point of it for me. You could turn these live streams into reaction videos of guitarists playing, make dollars, I bet. I'd probably just get taken down. your Strat comparisons have been great. It seems like aside from the neck shape, you really dig the Player 2. Exactly, I would say that. It seems really good bang for buck, the Player 2. And the rosewood on it looked great compared to the Vintera 2. Vincent's had 3 ads so far. Probably be a 4th one coming sometime. Hey, Blue, hope you're doing well. Do you have a clear recollection of things you learned that gave you real breakthroughs in your playing or helped you more to get to where you wanted to be? So I can think of a few things, and one of the things that I talk about quite a bit came a bit later with some of the jazzier stuff, and like that lesson on this sort of stuff, which is actually kind of technically kind of hard to play as well. That sort of stuff really did open up, I think, this idea that scale shapes are more than just that sort of thing. So things like Alan Hines talks about and John Schofield, playing little things that are like patternistic through the major scale. Like that sort of thing. It's been a real breakthrough for me as well, I guess. Other breakthroughs, there's few and far between, I would say, right, in general. Can I think of anything else? I think as well with like legato stuff, this was a bit of a breakthrough when direction seemed to be less of an issue. And part of what made that happen was like the idea that a pull-off could be like sideways rather than just being like pulling off. And that took quite a lot of time to that sort of thing. It took a lot of getting used to it. One for Sainsbury's and 2 were just dudes going at it like hammers and tongs, not even applied penetration, but full on. Anyone else getting? That might be you, Jim. All right, Vince. Does Player 2 Strat have the best quality versus price ratio among all the Strats you ever played? I would say the Fender Road 160s might be, or actually my K-Line Springfield, which I got for 800. Is there a world where any of the Fenders you have been trying to get close to your K-Lines, or are they a different world altogether? The problem with me for the K-Line is that I've played that guitar for 8 years. I think it is nearly getting on to 8 years, 7, 8 years. So it's actually got quite a lot of wear on it now. So it's really hard to compare like how much fretboard edges have been rounded, because like your hands continue to do the work. Jim is questioning the like to watching ratios. I would suggest that that's fine. Should we set a super chat goal? 5 super chats, and when Lenny gets home, I won't hit her. Start goal. I'll be a better husband. I bought a Blue. I hope you're coping all right as well, by the way. Lenny is 2 minutes away. Hopefully you didn't hear that then. Would you get your old guitars refretted or just just retire them? I would get them refretted. I think I was listening to Andy Timmons talk about a guitar the other day, and he said it'd been refretted 11 times, and I thought, actually, yeah, it's a fair point. There is a risk with a refret, like it could slightly ruin the guitar for you, but there's something really about a comfortable, well played in neck. That makes sense. Okay. Ads are normal for Jim, but for Vincent Champagne, oh great, another advert. This time it's a dude telling his kid his mother has passed and now he's on buying a suitcase from Wilco. Okay, well that's a very specific reference to Lorraine Cox. John asked further up about the Fender Highways. I bought one and it arrived in quite a lot worse condition than I'd expected. So, yeah. That was that. Optimize. Do you sell used equipment? Yes, I do. Would like to buy something like the Jet JS guitar you used on the channel and multi-effects pedal. Which multi-effects? I do. If anyone's ever interested in grabbing a specific piece of gear, you could always email me, and oftentimes I'm happy to let stuff go. Tell you what, with these adverts, there's cocks everywhere. Did a refret on my number one Strat, real nickel 6105 frets. The first fretboard edges on the neck were already rounded, and Luthier shaped the fret ends well. So much better than it ever was. What are you using for your grizzly tone today? Sounds barky and delicious, says Copper Conk. Out of the Fender Strats you tried recently, which one had your favourite pickups? I think the Vintera. He's basically giving stuff away. Right, what should I do here? Anyone got some suggestions for something to play over? The Jet stuff, I don't think I own. So those are just like loaners. Right, I'm going to do some looping whilst the wife comes in. I'm also going to block my ears. We'll keep going. Play Misty. All right. So that's a bit of Misty-ish. Right, there were some questions. Advert for Hallow, Hans Jobs says. I don't think that was me doing an advert for Hallow. What is Hallow? Talking about pickups, what's the best aftermarket bridge pickup for a Strat that's decent? I would say Lola Dirty Blondes are good. I just overpaid more than €100 on a PRS in Peach Guitars, buying from Spain due to customs. You'd be rest assured that Peach Guitars will make sure that guitar is playing very well out of the box, though. What's your take on the modern day Gibson SGs? I've never played a modern Gibson SG. Do you like playing SGs in general? Not really. Jennifer says, I'm trying to stick to and go through Mick Goodrick's The Advancing Guitarist book. In the age of content, do you ever go through a full book recommendations? You mentioned Gambale before. I had done... at uni, I had a friend that had showed me that Gambale thing, and I worked through it kind of like in an afternoon. it was cool. Yeah, cool stuff. I didn't see the video. I just had the audio and the tab. I think I probably got it from a torrent or something. But yeah, it's pretty cool. 4 books, not particularly. What are you doing?
My shoes.
Unbelievable. Seems my dog want your dogs, says Paul. Well, you can't have them. Where are the treats? She might sing if someone donates.
No, I won't. Not tonight. It's a Tuesday.
She's saying not tonight, but we can pressure her into it. Pete says been searching for a left-handed Gibson Les Paul for some time now. Unbelievably difficult to find one. Anyway, love you playing. Lefties have it pretty tough, don't they? Let's be honest. Is it? Vasco says about would I consider doing a follow-up video on the Hotone Ampero 2? If I had one, I would, but the supplier, whatever the name would be, distributor in the UK, has it back. They had it back to make some videos on it, so no good. I did a sponsored review of the ML Drums audio plugin, Johan. I think it's pretty good. Did it? Well, maybe it wasn't sponsored. Maybe it was just using the demo. But I don't know. There's just so much competition in that sort of area that it's kind of hard to get there anyway, right? But seems like fine stuff. How long did it take for you to know a guitarist to become your number one? So what, the K-Line Springfield? It just ended up being the one that I play basically all the time. Sacred Geometry gives the sensible take, which is just learn on a right-handed guitar. After studying Holdsworth on and off for quite a while, I started watching your channel because your approach to legato seems more accessible. I think that success for you has a high probability. What do you mean by success, David? Another advert, just watch a couple at a fertility clinic and then 6 months later they're at B&Q decorating a baby's room when a badger bursts out of a... Right.
He's made up.
No, that one might be related to a buddy of Jim's. Tell your wife we all thank her for the time she allows you to spend with us. There you go. Right, go and do a tune then. What is the most beautiful guitar finish colour and why is it Shoreline Gold? What else is there? I quite like a Blackguard at this point. Right, what do you want to sing? You've been told thank you for letting me go to the Donkey Sanctuary yesterday.
What is it?
They know what you like, bud. Twisted Lines has got a freeze pedal. Any tips on playing over a chord? So fluent. Any tips on how you got there? So knowing what part of the major scale you're in at all times probably makes a good deal of sense. So what I would do would be like practice playing like a C. No, I'm not streaming through Reaper, it's through OBS. If you've got your C, maybe I'll just set a loop here. So if I'm doing that, so that could be C as a 1. So that's a C where it sounds like I'm playing in C major. Equally, it could be C Lydian, where it would be a C where it sounds like I'm playing in G major. the way to, I guess, practice that is to just be really sure of what key you're playing in at all times. David asks, have I been learning Bukovac licks? I have not. I don't know if we have some similar... I think he was into Rush, right? And I was into John Petrucci, who was into Rush. So maybe that's a little bit of a slight link there. But, yeah. Cheers from Vermont. Any tips or licks you recommend for increasing fret hand speed? I can pick fast, but my left fingers don't move fast enough. I guess like the video that I did today, you have to kind of push it progressively. Maybe push it beyond where you're getting it totally right all the time. Although I don't know exactly if that's totally good science, but yeah, maybe. Paul has one goodish electric guitar, one good acoustic, and a cheap but okay bass. Don't know any better, so you're happy. Yes, cool. Audiosyncratic. I would love to know how you change static backing chords with your feet in your vids. I use cheers, Blue. Hope you're doing well. And yeah, considering. Backing chords with your feet in your vids. So that's me paying to let Lenny off the hook for singing. Unbelievable. Chat's revolting.
What's going on? Someone's paying
Wait,
so
what
I
was the
don't have to
question?
sing.
Yeah. Blue doesn't like your voice.
Oh, that's really horrible.
Yeah. So Don't Give Up by Peter Gabriel. Isn't that by that sort of thing, doesn't it? I know Downside It Up a bit better. I don't think Lenny will know this one. Still good, like, I think it's not dropping frames too much, right? So another Peter Gabriel tune that I really like is Downside Up. I think Kate Bush sings on that, Jim. I think. My dad used to work on the farm where Kate Bush and Peter Gabriel recorded something. That's kind of cool. Don't Give Up. I think it... Don't Give Up. Yeah, I think Kate Bush guessed on it. You keep saying Tux theme. I don't know it, bruv. Loop the entire pandemic. It kept me sane. Is that The Liminal? There is an artist called Liminal. I think it plays for Billie Eilish. I think this is how it goes. Exactly. Is that link just Lemon Party? What is Lemon Party? It's probably 4 girls, 1 cup. Hey, Crenna. I skipped the performer strat because I couldn't really figure out what the point of it was particularly. Are you gonna sing? I'm on train to work today. Right, so you've already cranked it. Oh, but you've got earplugs this time. I think it's normal for that reverb to not work on a normal channel, by the way, John. That's really helpful, crack theory. What on earth is this Lemon Party? What is he licking? Is the guitar sound recorded in a DO? No, we're going direct. What is it? What is it? Yeah, so we're going direct in the helix, but there's also a mic there so you can hear the voice. We met Nemo on Exmouth Beach about 5 years ago. Dolly. Wait, he must have been tiny then. Rule 32 of Lemon Party, is that? Right, so the progression, F sharp minor, E, C sharp minor. So we're going chord 2, 1, 6, 5. And I'm playing in E major, so I'm chord 2, chord 1, chord 6, chord 5. So yeah, then what am I doing? I'm just playing in E major is what I'm thinking for all of it. And occasionally I was trying to do that intervallic thing which I was talking about in a video a couple of days ago, where it was kind of descending in 6, step, ascend to 6, down. She went for a walk on the keys, so that's why she's wearing a jacket. Yeah, 2, 1, 6, 5. Well, Sacred Geometry here says, do you have any tips for forcing yourself to reach for wider intervals when improvising? I have said this to someone before, it's kind of like put your fingers somewhere. Are you changing the scale to match the chord or just playing the root scale? I'm just thinking parent scale E major all the time, Pete. I don't think vertically with chords unless I really have to. Oh, Scott, that's very, very generous of you. Wild. Thanks so much. Yeah, that's a crazy amount of money. Any requests that you might have for stuff, Scott, feel free to email me with them. It's bonkers. Is the government holding back in heating? Your wife looks cold. Just an old
No, the government isn't.
No, I am.
John is.
But the thing is, when it gets warm at night, we like to open a window, so it just feels like a massive waste of money. Eric Walker says, very tough for me to figure out a practice plan. How long does everyone work on one thing? So this is something I mentioned in a video today. I don't know, what do you do for a living, Eric? And how much time do you have for guitar? Carl Verhagen is an amazing interval player, and he's on TrueFire. He has some courses on there. I'll go back to intervals in a second. Someone remind me. What I would suggest is really focusing on one specific thing at a time, and instead of thinking about everything that you should be practicing or whatever, which I think is the feeling that we have generally, is that there's lots of things that are weaknesses for us. Pick one specific thing and hone in on that for like 10 to 20 minutes a day if you can. And in that way, I think you can make a gain in that area. That's like a little short-term-ish goal thing. So for me, it was this specific lick. Like that. But you can be, something much more sensible than that. Right, that dog needs to go up to bed, Lenny.
Can you just finish?
Yeah, I will in a sec.
Okay.
But you just take them up. Once this gets to around 6 minutes, I'll give the guys what they're wanting, yeah? Chat a bit more. Yeah. For how many days? I've been doing something for 3 weeks, and I kind of increased the speed by about 30%. I think it made sense. And then probably at a certain point you'll find, right, well, my attention is no longer held by that. Jared says, if I have an hour for a day, I try to work in like 15-minute blocks. Unless I'm really cooking and making progress, then I go longer. The last chunk of time I write will come up with riffs. Yeah, so it depends on what you're working on. So for me, improvisation is a big part of what I want to get fluent at. And so, what?
Should I leave the lazy ones?
Yeah, for now. That's fine. I'll bring them up. Lenny, Blue said bye.
Oh, bye-bye.
Cheers. but I think as we get older, possibly we have different sort of motivations and different distractions, like kids and wives that will jump in on a live stream. 10 to 20 minutes a day of like focused practice on one thing might be a realistic goal. Hey Ross, how you doing? I think that for me is what I've realized anyway, that I need to be quite specific about a thing. Otherwise, like there's so much to think about that maybe you'll never work on anything specifically. Does that make sense? Liminal says, I like playing absolute random nonsense, but you were telling me that you loop quite a lot, which is some legitimate like skills-based thing anyway. Bart says, I've recently started practicing a certain thing, whatever, in 10-minute intervals. It really works well and you don't get to the point where you're getting tired. Yeah, I think this is a thing. I think my practice is a bit different to when I was a kid, when I would do things for a long amounts of time, like 2 hours of what I thought was practice. Donate £5, I'll get the guns out. This is John Nathan Cordy, apparently, commenting in the chat without typing. It's clever stuff. But yeah, these days, you know, again, as I say, it depends on where you're at in life. Like if you're a younger guy, then absolutely having like a dedicated thing. So in 2015, things were a bit different for me. So I stopped working and started to just do music full time. And I would, at that time, I'd listen to, I think, Ben Unson talk about like practicing for 7 hours a day. So I was really quite full on at that point, 2015, for a few years of trying to get in like 7 hours of practice a day. And then eventually my girlfriend at the time was like, what on earth are you doing? So I had to pare that back. Yeah, but I think that's the older you, well, like in this middle age sort of stage, I think there is a more realistic amount of practice you can do, like 10 to 20 minutes. Liminal is very opposite to me in this, that I've noticed that time off helps me a lot. I come back fresh. So I'm the opposite in that I just want to make sure that every single day I pick up the guitar. And it doesn't, I wouldn't say I'm practicing that much as much as playing, but I am someone that like it helps my sort of, like it's just part of something I have to do every day. Otherwise, I feel strange. I practice several hours a day, but concentrate on things for no longer than 10 minutes at a time. And then I guess it's something to think about when you're choosing what to practice is things that are going to hold your attention for a long amount of time for you to make your progress in them. And I find that you can, what I'm guessing is that if you do like lots of various kind of licks and take them like up to speed and beyond your speed in like 3-week chunks or whatever like that, I'm guessing that you can continue to make serious speed sort of gains and technique gains to some extent, but maybe Ross practice is not soiling himself. How's it going for you, Ross? Yeah. Dave, I was an amazing player when I was 16, had an accident, forgot everything, so 30 odd years later I'm playing catch up. All my knowledge is gone, I'm finding it hard to retain info. I think that's... Who was it? There's someone who had an accident. Is it Pat Martino? Hamza says, hey there. Hey, Hamza. Do you have bad practice days where you're not satisfied and nothing seems to go well as the day before? It's very frustrating. So, hello. I can't say that name, but you're from Ukraine. Hope you're doing all right. I would say I have days where it's frustrating. So, like, maybe even this evening when I started thinking about, like, that video that I put out earlier, like, working on speed and then thinking about how when I get to, like, 205, 210 BPM, like, my arms tensing up and stuff like that. That sort of stuff, I think, can be frustrating. But then, in other ways, just trying to just play something that meant something to you or that you enjoyed, I think is in many ways more important than having sort of really defined goals. And this is one of those things actually that some of these players that have like all the technique in the world, but do you sense much joy in their playing sometimes? Do you get what I mean? Where there's like, this is not meant to offend anyone or anything, but like say when Guthrie Govan is playing, like you clearly can tell that he's totally enjoying himself, right? And then there's these other players that may have like absolutely immaculate technique. And I mean, Guthrie to me is one of those players who is like amazing technically as well as clearly enjoying the thing. But yeah, that's one of the things for me. There are some of these like super hot down, like technique-wise players that maybe it doesn't seem to translate so much as joy, and maybe like in some ways like Eddie Van Halen, you know, there's videos out there where he's not so hot, like super nailing everything, but like clearly there's like super energy in his playing. Yeah, does that make sense? And that's something that I try to remember. Just looking for, even if your things aren't working in the day that you expected, can you make a melody? I mean, so even if it's like you're finding like today I can't play super fast, but maybe it's like the world telling you to play like telling you to play more like Maya today or whatever. It's telling you that you're kind of banging up against the wall, and if you're doing that, I try to just do something different. Have I ever tried to capture Neural DSP to nanocortex? I have not. The reason I brought up Guthrie there was specifically because I was watching a video just before the stream from Anton Apparan where he was sort of laying into some of Guthrie's technique a bit, which is kind of brave. Eric says, a classical etude, I take a section at a time and stick with one section all day if necessary. Razor focus, you just confirmed, enjoying every second, so I guess that's the main thing. Exactly. If you can do that and you've got the energy and time to do that, then that's great too. I think a lot of players where you can read about their practice schedules and stuff, when that it's more about focusing on like a few things, but razor focused, like you're saying, and kind of shifting those throughout the day a little bit. Hey, from New Jersey. Nice. Hey, Seth. This guitar GBD guy is the Cordy Twattercaster. I don't know Tore Down House by Scott Henderson. The only Scott Henderson thing I'm familiar with was Extraction. Is Truefire better to get or your Patreon? I would say Truefire, but Patreon is very specific for me, a way to sort of make available my lesson stuff and my backing tracks. I think Truefire is going to be players that know more than me, though. Have ever tried a PV Wolfgang guitar? Damn, they are amazing. I've tried the EVH Wolfgang one, and my buddy Tony Startup up the road had one, but it's been on the channel. The neck's a little bit skinny on those for me. It's a bit super stratty for me as well. Obviously not super stratty, but super... What would the word be? Like a hot-rodded sort of thing. Hi from Devon. Your accent seems from the southwest too, says Becky Barker. I'm going to bet that might be Jim. But yes, I am from the southwest. Marcus says, hey John, have you seen the Troy Grady stuff on YouTube? I've seen a bit of it, yeah. the thing which I would say is kind of interesting to me is this Anton Apparin guy, kind of talking about like a universal technique instead of like following. So there are some sort of, I guess, limitations that some of the players have worked around. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. And I think Troy Grady might have been one of the players that he was saying wouldn't be as universal as his own technique, which is kind of interesting. Govan, Beck, Timmons, not Cordy, doesn't fit in that. Vi, Petrucci, none of them are 100% perfect, which makes them perfect. Yeah, I think there's some element to that, right? I might have to check that out. The picking is very subjective. I think the point that this Anton guy is making is that actually there is a scientific reason that most things that are sort of, what would the word be, like, what is the word? Most things that are, I'm trying to think of what the word would be. No, why this word is not working. Most things that are unique, quirky about someone's picking are possibly inefficiencies, is kind of what it seemed like. So for me particularly, and he was talking about like Martin Miller and Guthrie Govan, and I can say this because these are things that I do, like when you're picking faster, that some amount of elbow picking comes into play. And what he's saying there is that essentially that you've got to control then two joints, and that's necessarily less efficient, if that makes sense. And that's something that I'm super, idiosyncrasy. That's one word for it. What was I thinking of? Idiosyncrasy is probably like a quirk, an idiosyncrasy for sure, or like a characteristic. Do you know what I mean? Like, so if you see a picking hand like this, for example, do you think of anyone in particular? Or, yeah. Yeah, it's not necessarily, it's more that I think what he was saying is that even amongst those idiosyncratic sort of players, like players can get around them. You're on about Wanger's cramp, exactly, that's right, Russ. You can work around, and this was kind of the other point for me, was that how fast do you really need to play? Like, if you can get up to 165, 180, these kind of tempos, then you're probably already as fast as a lot of people are going to be wanting to hear anyway. And so I think you can do that without the most efficient technique in the world. But I guess the point is about kind of trying to progress and improve, is that maybe there are things that should be worked on, and also I guess like long-term health stuff. So anyway, like I'm someone who does tense up this arm a bit. I'm a subscriber to Troy's website, and I really like that I can send him videos and get very detailed feedback. Can recommend, says Marcus. That's cool. I was just looking at the Anton Apparin stuff. I think it says 1 year membership, only $339 USD. So it's quite a chunk of money, but yeah, lots of pickers for their fast run. It's almost a luck game. They get them sometimes, but can't get them every single time. And that's, yeah, it's an interesting thing, isn't it? Certainly, like Petrucci, for instance, I've seen, I used to watch live at the Budokan and stuff like that. And even if it's playing like the same prepared solos, yeah. Is there actually a Discord? I'm a Patreon member, but can't find a link. There's no official Discord. I don't know really what Discord is. I think the point that Anton was trying to make, or more making, is that for the average person who isn't Guthrie or something, then having a setup to technique which is not optimal is going to be more of a blockage over the long term, if that makes sense. Or, Marty Friedman or whatever. So finding some level of comfort is, yes, a good thing, but if you're not set up in some estimates, I don't know what I'm saying. If you're not set up, there are more optimal ways to set up technique, I guess. Paul Gilbert is still the picking king for me. I got what speed I have from his 3 note per string stuff. And Paul Gilbert was one of the guys that Anton pointed out as having really good stuff. Cheers, Jared. Enjoy your class. I hope you get something out of it. And yeah, he kind of talked about early Paul Gilbert as being specifically quite specifically good technique. And also Rick Graham, who some of you guys, I'm going to guess, are familiar with as well. Who, yeah, actually started playing electric guitar quite late, relatively. I think he was 18. But he had been a classical player for, I think, his whole life. Anyway, I thought it was an interesting sort of thing just to watch and sort of challenge some of my thoughts about my own playing or whatever, at least. You know, especially, I don't know if anyone else here is like getting towards middle age or whatever, but technique that is going to not hinder your health is probably a good thing. And I think tensing up the arms is probably not a great thing. Jack Garner's amazing, and yeah, Rick. Yeah, I just wonder what Rick Graham's like day-to-day life is like, because I don't see him posting like he used to. What scales to mix for long solo lines? Just major scale stuff is. Visat Trucci, I showed up for the bathroom jam. Click. Yeah. Paul Gilbert picking is still bonkers to this day. Very clean. Yeah. It's interesting stuff, and I probably need to look at some Paul Gilbert stuff. I feel like I could do some of the lines that he, that sort of thing. But I think middle age depends on how long you think the average person lives, right? So if I'm 36 nearly, if I get to 72, that would be good, right? In my opinion, practicing fast scales gives you the freedom to be able to play the parts of them when improvising and not necessarily blast out the same lick. Again, true. So I think I spent a load of time when I was younger doing that sort of stuff. And because you're doing it so fast, it's really interesting that I feel like those particular shapes are really... Zig Mercury's getting aggressive amounts of adverts. That I don't have to think so hard about what the shapes are underneath them. And because I didn't do that with things like... you know, with the melodic minor, that's something I have to think about. I think Paul's interest must have changed, you know what I mean? So in his 30s, Alan Holdsworth, it seems to me, had like a real shift, or maybe even 40s, shift towards the legato-based thing. And Paul Gilbert kind of shifted away from the shred thing a little bit, in my opinion. Anton would tell you Paul Gilbert attempt to shreds in a Russian accent. Yeah. Intense Rock 1 and 2. Brent Mason, Nashville chops. Yeah. Any tips on learning the note names? Well, I think for me, what I noticed was there's this site here. If you want to test it, so I think if you search random note picker, random.brettpimentel, maybe I'll just link it. But here's a way of testing some of this stuff. Like, do you know it? And just do a bit of that each day. If you're thinking that learning note names is something that you really want. Alex Hutchins has taken the Frank Gambale picking to the next... I don't think anyone's actually superseded Frank Gambale on that thing. If you watch what Frank Gambale can still do, it's kind of crazy stuff. I think Alex Hutchins is amazing too, but I don't think he necessarily got beyond what Frank did, in my opinion. Like, Frank is absolutely bonkers as well. Paul became interested in slide and vocal lines, and sort of like that more Beatlesy style songwriting. And that's maybe one of the things about this as well. Once you get to a certain speed no longer becomes a thing that you're thinking about all the time, because you can play fast enough that you can be fast. Still do the first Petrucci warm-up from Rock Discipline. There's lots of Petrucci stuff. That like that from whatever it's called. Or that little thing. So like that sort of thing, I guess. So that sort of thing, I need to be, you know, trying to. That sort of thing, I need to kind of just be focused on relaxing that. Lenny's feeling sleepy apparently. Yeah, I'm going to watch a horror film in a minute then, bud. I think, what was that? Erotomania. Hey, Alan. Right. Oh, we booked our tickets, Alan. I've left a Monster Energy in the footwell for you. She's dropping hints. She is dropping hints. They weren't that subtle, were they? But I'm just looking at my arm there. What horror film? I don't know. I need to find one. Alan, I will see you on the 8th of April. Michael says, do you ever set up your guitars after taking them out of the box? Generally, for the purpose of the review, no. Because I feel like the point of the review is to try and show as close as possible what the thing will be like. I think this has started to drop frames now anyway, so maybe this is time to... Hell House LLC 1 and 2. Anyway, so that's something I need to be thinking about, right? Most effective speed building method, Liam Hutchison asks. Well, that's an interesting point of debate, isn't it? I think the debate rages on a bit. So for me, when I was younger, what it would be the gradual speed increase thing. But I think these days I'm more aware of when things are not exactly right. So I'm less inclined to push beyond what I could do. Does that make sense? So I think these days I need to spend more time actually just pushing the speed beyond maybe. But equally, I've been watching Anton Apparin today, and maybe there are other things that I should set up correctly. What is the best course to start with on True Fire to learn to improv as good as you? I don't think there are many courses on... They talk about them being on improv, but so like there's an aerial posing thing, which is about improvisation and stuff, but I don't know how much you can learn from a course on improvisation, if that makes sense, because it seems to me like a sort of thing that just needs a lot of hands time on and sort of playing around. So this is one of the things that I've noticed as well. So there are certain players that used to improvise quite a bit and then have sort of gone more to playing prepared solos live. John Petrucci is one of these guys, I think, that used to improvise more, but now he plays like the same thing every night live. I think if you stop improvising as a like sort of a thing that you do a lot of, it's a muscle that can kind of just slip away a little bit. Kent asked earlier in chat, like if you don't lose it, apparently you use it. Wait, that's not right. If you don't use it, apparently you lose it. And so that's kind of one of the things that I think maybe just making improvising one of your singular focuses is important. And I don't know that a course can necessarily get you there. Does that make sense? It's more like a constant way of playing for me, personally. Hey mate, do you have a Schecter Nick Johnson signature? I used to. I've done a couple of videos on it, like maybe 2022. Right, I better go pick a film for the wife to watch. Be a horror, obviously. Thanks everyone for stopping by. If you enjoyed this stream, tomorrow there should be another one at the same sort of time. I really appreciate you guys stopping by. And again, thank you so much to Scott for the $50 in chat. That's wild. Chris, I hope the long COVID becomes shorter. And yeah, thank you everyone for joining in. There is a video on the PRS NF3, the SE, which has gone up if you're interested in that. Cheers, Josh. See you later. Thank you everyone for stopping by and just watching me and talking about technique a bit. Cheers, everyone. Yeah, I'll catch you soon. And thanks for putting up with me. Video on the Tone Master Deluxe Reverb tomorrow, by the way, if that's at all interesting to anyone. Possibly not what you think it's going to be. Cheers for stopping by.